guys, welcome back. Today we're doing some beef backs on the offset. I got 2 racks. Let's see here, here's one, there's another one. Anybody that's never done beef backs, it is what's left after the butcher removes the ribeye steaks. So there's not a ton of meat, but you can see it has great marbling, and the meat that's on it is very good. These are a little pricey, $7-8 a pound, and they're only about a little bit over 2 pounds each rack. The big bone in them, like I said, not much meat, but it is very tasty if you cook them on the smoker. So stay tuned. Gonna season them up with my homemade rub here, just a little salt and pepper and a few other things, a little olive oil as a binder, and we'll get them on the smoker. So here's a closer look. See, there's really not much trimming to do on these. They come pretty well trimmed. A couple little pieces of fat you can almost just pick off with your finger. If you have any excess like here, just cut that off, peel it off, but don't take too much of it off. You know, you want to keep a lot of that marbling. The back has a membrane just like pork ribs. I'm not gonna remove it. Probably just, see, it looks like the butcher scored it here, but I'm just going to score it a little bit, get some rub down in there. But these pull back pretty big on the bone, so I don't want it to really fall apart, so I'm going to leave that membrane on. Little olive oil binder, some rub, and on the pit, so stay tuned. Alright, so here's the beef backs, all seasoned up. Been sitting for about 15 minutes. Got the pit up to almost 250. I want to keep it between 250, maybe 275. Running hickory and cherry. Let's get these on. All right, ribs are on. I always keep the thickest part, so it kind of tapers down. Get smaller. Keep the thickest part closest to the fire. Protect the thinner stuff down here. You can always rotate them for a little while if you want to get more color here, or if you think this is a little too done, you can always rotate or go vertical. Really, whatever you want to do. But when I first start, I always start with the thickest part closest to the firebox. All right, we're an hour in. Take a look. Get some nice color already. I'm gonna spritz with a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Can never say that right. A little bit of apple cider vinegar, some water, and some beef broth. A little spritz. Close it back up. Check in about, probably spritz again another half hour or so. We are 2 hours in. Holding perfect. Let's take a look. Oh boy. Those are starting to look real good. Give them another spritz. And I'll probably wrap in about maybe half hour. Alright, so here's a little tip of how I save on wood. If you're gonna wrap your meat, whether it's a pork butt or ribs, whatever, brisket, once you wrap it, it obviously stops taking smoke. So you don't really need to keep putting splits on, especially if you pay a lot of money for them. But so build an extra chimney and start it about a half hour before you're gonna wrap, and then build yourself a fresh bed of coals once you wrap, because you're not gonna need a lot of wood, because it's not gonna be taking smoke because it's gonna be wrapped. So what I do is I build a fresh chimney about 30 minutes before I wrap, let it get all caught and nice and hot, And then once I wrap, I put a fresh bed of coals in the firebox, wrap, and then you're good to go. You can add a couple of splits or more coal. It doesn't really matter what you add because the meat's not going to take smoke. All right, so we're 3 hours in. These are already probing pretty tender. 180 to 185 in spots. So it's time to wrap them. Wrap them for an hour, hour and a half, and they should be good. All right, so I'm gonna wrap with butcher paper today. I'm just gonna add a little bit of the spritz to the paper. Wrap these up and put them back on. They're both wrapped up. Butcher paper back on the pit. And then over here, like I showed you before, I still have a couple splits burning out, but for some extra heat without wasting splits, because it's not going to take smoke anymore, just build a new coal bed. And then you can always either add coal or splits to it, whatever you want to use, but just remember your meat's not going to take any more smoke once it's wrapped. All right, we are at 5.5 hours. These are done. Gonna take them both off. Look at the juice coming right out of the butcher paper. Put them both right there. We'll unwrap them and take a look. Look at that. They're both probing like butter, up in the 190s, 200 in spots. Look at the butcher paper, soaked. That's how much juice that they held in. So I didn't wrap with anything except for a couple spritzes of the mixture I was using to spritz with. But look at these. Look at the pullback. Color. We're gonna let them rest and then we're gonna cut into them. Overall, they came out fantastic. Maybe just a little less rub next time, but overall, A+.